Hey everyone, welcome back to the Comic-Con podcast. It is episode 40 episodes of the Comic-Con podcast with some additional, Star Wars spec, Mutant Mondays, which we haven't done in a while, and some little bonus footage, but episode 40 of the mainstream, what's the word I'm looking for? Flagship title. So
Absolutely.
Zach, aka Manimal here, back from a little week hiatus. God, I can't even speak. With my boy, as always, Justin, aka Nemesis Prime. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Zach? Yeah, I told everybody that you were gone from the podcast, that you were no longer part of this thing, and I had to get Juan last week. And it's always good to have the Comic Goon on, man. He's a great person in the community. So shout out to Juan, the Comic Goon. We had a great talking regarding the upcoming New Jersey's Super Comic Jersey Expo that's going to be happening in November. And, and those guys gave us a shout out, which was really cool. So we appreciate that. So if anybody is new listening to the podcast, thank you very much. Check out our old episodes, which are all over Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts.
I was listening to that episode, and it's so weird that when you were your little opening credit about how we had a falling out and stuff, like I immediately had this weird feeling in my stomach, like, oh shit, dude, there's drama. And then I was like, wait, that's me he's talking about. I know there's no drama. But man, I got a little hyped up for a minute there.
Yeah, so, Juan wasn't ready for that. Like his face was so funny. Like as
he's like, wait, what?
yeah. After it ended, he's like, dude, I didn't know you were gonna do that. Like you should have warned me. And I was just like, nah, it's cool.
He's like, oh shit, did something really happen? I didn't realize I was coming on as like after a big falling out or something. So.
Yeah.
The Comic-Con podcast obviously stands for any newcomers, the comic community. So I always like to talk about kind of what's going on in the community. As well for newcomers, we love receiving any voice memos to the Comic-Con podcast at gmail.com or to our existing listeners as well. We haven't received one in a while, or questions to either that or our personal Instagram or the Comic-Con podcast on Instagram. You can find us there as well. So our community section today, I think we're kind of just going to talk about some of the stuff Justin and I have done and have coming up. So this past weekend, I was out in Phoenix, Arizona, actually, visiting some families. My in-laws live out there. And I took advantage of the opportunity of having multiple comic book shops and went hunting a la Nemesis Prime and was able to go to like 7 or 8 shops, which is great. And God, I don't even know, like a 10-mile radius, maybe. Did some good hunting, got some good books, man. Like I actually found some really good stuff out there, I thought, which hopefully will be coming up on a Whatnot sale sometime soon, which you can follow me, the Manimal, on Whatnot, if I ever get some free time from work and I can do something fun. So yeah, man, it was cool. Like, and I called Justin like in between every shop, and I was like, "Oh, this is what I got at this one. What should I look for?" Because I don't get to hunt like Justin does. So I'm like, "Hey, bro, what do I need to look for?" He's like, "Shuri, Riri. What else did you tell me? Young Avengers."
Yeah, the Young Avengers stuff. And then it was funny because I went to a show here in Jersey and I posted some books, and then you said you looked at like my post. And
yeah,
we were kind of like looking for those books.
I was like, what did he get?
Yeah, the Kate Bishop stuff, like the
Hawkeye, the Hawkeye stuff. The only one I never try to like really copy you at, and I always like. Here's the thing: is like since that shit got hot, the Star Wars Dark Horse, I'm always like, cool. Let's see what Star Wars Dark Horse they got. And then as soon as I'm going through the books, I'm like, oh yeah, I just remembered for like the 90th time that I have no idea what miniseries are good. The only ones I know is like the Malik and Revan books, and I just know them on site. So I'm always like, yeah, I'm looking through this. It's pointless again. But
you did some good hunting. That's something that, like you said, it's not your norm because there's not a lot of shops by you. So
I put together some good runs, man. I put together a whole run of Nottingham, which was cool. I put together a run, like a pretty substantial run, tail end run of the Fraction Hawkeye series. What else? I'm deep heavy into that Deathlock book, dude. I have like 8 of those fucking things now. Deathlock number 1, the Michael Collins one. Yep. I think it's Michael Collins, right?
Yeah. So we'll be getting those soon, hopefully. First appearances.
Yeah. So it was good, man. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. going to different shops and whatnot. So yeah. What about you? You got something coming up?
Yeah, but before that, didn't you get recognized in a shop?
Oh, yes, I did. Just super uncomfortable as well. Like man, I don't know, for what this is so obnoxious to even say. Like,
Celebrity Zach.
yeah, it's so obnoxious to even say that there's any celebrity status that comes from like YouTube and Instagram and all this nonsense. But and anyone who knows me, who's actually met me and been around me, like some of my buddies who I've met at cons, and then when people walk up, like I feel so uncomfortable when that shit happens. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm just a regular dude. There's nothing fucking special about me. But yeah, people were cool. They're like, hey, one guy was like, hey, I know you from somewhere, right? And I was like, I don't know, maybe, So here's the deal. Also, I wanted him to check me out, like on the register before I admitted to being someone. Cause I was like, damn, dude, if he like knows that maybe I dabble in like spec books, he might up the price on some of this shit. So I kind of was like hoping that went under. And he's like, oh yeah, you're on like Lords of the Long Box and YouTube and stuff, right? I was like, yeah, man. So.
See, I would have done it the reverse. Like I always been like, yeah, I'm on Comic-Con podcast. I'm on Lords of the Long Box. Any maybe a discount. Hey, can you do any better on these books? That's how I am. I mean, I'm always looking for the deal. So if I'm buying a lot of books, hey, what's it to throw 15-20% off? So
yeah, I kind of feel like if you got a stack, dude. Like if you got a big old stack of books, be like, hey man, I don't know. What am I to say? It's not my business. It's not my livelihood. So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, throw me a discount. But one shop was really cool, and I bought a ton of books from, man. They were priced, I don't want to say high, but higher than I would have liked to pay, obviously. But they were reasonably priced. But I was like, damn, man, a little bit of discount for fucking quantity here. But nah. So anyway, it was fun. I had a good time, man. I really, really enjoyed it.
Okay. So for me this week, I actually have, and I feel like it's every week there's always a new New Jersey like comic show to talk about.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
So I got just told about this. So this past Sunday, I went to the Clifton Comic Show here in New Jersey. Of course, it was a last minute thing. Didn't really know that I was going to go, but ended up spending a ton of money. And shout out to Greg MTG Comics who told me about it, because I was just like, well, I didn't go to New York Comic Con, but I ended up going to comic shops anyway, Friday and Saturday, and spent a ton of money because I was like, well, I didn't go to New York Comic Con. I was like, let me go hunting. And that's what I did. And then I was talking to Greg on Saturday, and he's like, oh, you're going to go to Clifton tomorrow? And I was like, oh, I didn't even know about it. He's like, yeah. And I was like, God damn it. And I went, I spent money, but it was good. If anyone follows me on Instagram, I think I posted pictures of what I bought, but if not, that's for me, I guess. And Zach, because I sent him the photos.
Yeah, that was my guidebook.
But one of the vendors over there, Panther Comics, they're way down in Turnersville, New Jersey, which is like an hour, maybe hour and a half south of me, like way down in like Gloucester County. It's like by almost like Atlantic City area, maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from AC. They told me about this show that's this weekend in Swedesboro, New Jersey. It's called the Chud Comic Con. It's one day, thousands of books, all the books, and then supposedly there's going to be at least, they're saying at least 70,000 books. All the books are priced at $1 and under. That's insane.
Every single book. Like, what about wall books? What are we talking about? Slabs? No slabs?
I'm sure people may bring wall books, but from what the vendor was telling me, it's literally just long boxes, and everything is $1 and under. So
do we know if it's good stuff, or are we talking Drek? What are we talking here? Any idea?
You know what? It could be Drek. And see, like, here's the thing. Here's where the OCD comes in. If it's alphabetized, it's perfect, because then I can go to the vendors, go to like the Star Wars section, look, go to the other hot stuff. If I don't see it, it's fine. But if I'm going through long boxes and there's nothing,
dude, if it's just like out of like order, random, yeah,
I'm going to be there all day. Like it's from 10 to 4, I think, and I don't really want to be there all day. But I guess we're gonna have to see what happens. But hell, for $1, like you could put together some good runs of stuff that, whether you want to flip it and be a dirty flipper, or you actually just want to read some stuff. So I'm hoping that I can find some stuff. One, for my collection, of course, always. Two, things that I've never read before that I'm like, hey, if I can pick up a majority of the run for a buck a piece, hell, and then if I have to buy the other books, if I'm missing like 2 or 3 books from a complete set, I'll pay $4, $5, $6 for them. Better than trying to buy the complete run and spend like an exorbitant amount of money. Right. And then, I'll look for some stuff that I'm definitely going to flip. That's, of course, anyways, listen to us. Both Manimal and myself are on Whatnot. We are under our normal names. So Milton the Manimal, and Nemesis_Prime on Whatnot. Typically do at least a sale a week. So with that being said, on the Swedesboro, South Jersey Chud Comic Con, and it's like an hour and a half drive from, it's probably like an hour 45 drive south for me. So what I'm actually doing, and I got the okay from the wife, was I'm actually going to leave here on Saturday and hit up like 3 or 4 shops down in South Jersey, and then stay at the hotel where the Comic Con is actually happening on Sunday.
Oh,
so
sweet.
I'm going to be doing a lot of digging on, and I already have my planned out day of like where I'm going. So 2 of the shops I've been to, one of the shops I haven't been to in a very, very long while, but it's about 3 or 4 shops that I'm going to try to get to in about a 6 to 8 hour span. Grab lunch, grab dinner. And I know some guys in the South Jersey area, so I may try to meet up with them. If not, I'll probably end up seeing them on Sunday at the show. So the South Jersey Chud Comic Con. So if anybody's listening here in New Jersey, even Delaware, if you live in Delaware, the Philadelphia market, it's at the Holiday Inn at 1 Pure Land Drive in Swedesboro, New Jersey. Zip code is 08585. It is exit 10 off of 295, and I think it's exit like 3 or 4 off of the the New Jersey Turnpike. If anybody's interested, if you're in the area, I'll be there. Like I said, $1 a book.
Yeah, hard to beat the option or the chance of $1 a book. You know what I mean? At least to make a pop in.
Hey, you never know what you'll fall into. I'm not saying I'm going to fall into like a Clone Wars 1 or like a Batman Adventures 12.
Hey, I got 6 copies of Kanan 6 for $1 a book.
Oh, that's right, you did. I remember that
at one place. So you never know. Because here's the deal. Most likely, and I kind of hope it is, just so I can kind of laugh at you. I hope it is just random books in random order. And then that means they didn't look through it, most likely. And then you're going to find wedged in between Harley Quinn 12 and Hulk 14, you'll find some gold in the middle of there.
Find like a first Riri Williams.
Yeah, right.
It'll be like an Ultimate Fallout 4 somewhere.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Well, that's cool. That's exciting, man. I'm excited to hear kind of how that goes for you and what you end up finding. Excited and already preemptively jealous of what you might find.
So. Yeah, it's you know what it is, and we've spoken about this, and I've said this a ton of times. This area is just littered with, first of all, comic shops in New Jersey where they're all doable driving. Like I can drive anywhere within an hour and a half and hit a good like 5 to 7 stores without a doubt. Like, you stayed at my house. I took you to a couple shops. They were all real close by. It's nothing like you're driving like half hour here, half hour there. They're literally within like 10 to 15 minutes of each other. And, I'll go back to them every now and then. But then not only that, but every month there's at least a few one-day shows in this area, which is unbelievable. So you're getting more than just going to a comic shop and dealing with the store. You're always going to a show where people are set up, who are buying collections, who are always getting new stuff, bringing different stuff, because obviously when you set up at a show, you're not bringing your full stock of inventory. You can only bring so many boxes. So maybe the next time you'll bring like, instead of bringing like actual price books, you bring like dollar books, or you bring, like full runs or whatever the case may be. So that's what's awesome about actually New Jersey, to be honest.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I definitely, my goal is, if I go on any more like trips where I have some free time, to try to do the same thing, go to a bunch of shops if I can. Cause I did enjoy it. It was fun. It was very fun. So what do we got? Not community. What kind of news and articles we got this week? I know you found a couple that you wanted to talk about, right?
Well, I mean, this is kind of the main one. And I feel like everyone knows about this, and we kind of not steered clear, but I just felt like I said enough in our group chat with Lords and to you regarding this new 2021 gender with the DC characters. So we didn't touch on the Tim Drake Robin thing, being bi and wanting to find out his sexuality with a male partner. But then this week they just dropped with the Jonathan Kent being bi. Now, listen, this is of course what I've said to you in the past. Tim Drake Robin has been around Stephanie Brown and Cassie Sidmark for the past 20 years. And
dude, the Robins are notoriously players,
So I was like, there's no way. And I'm like, they're really just going to change this, right? So now this week we have the John Kent. he's going to be exploring his bisexuality. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about it, but you know what? We're going to dive right into this. And the reason why I bring this up is this is a great article that I found on people.com. Dean Cain addresses the bisexuality Superman storyline in comic books by saying, quote, they're jumping on the bandwagon. So, of course, if anyone who's old enough knows about Dean Cain, he played Superman in the 90s in the Lois and Clark show. Of course, he was also on the CW's Supergirl in the beginning series. But now with the Superman Son of Kal-El series, they're taking Jonathan Kent, and he's coming out as a bisexual in the 5th issue, which has already been solicited. You've seen the covers. The first appearance of his gay lover is Jay. I'm going to butcher his name. I want to say it's Nyamiak, but his first appearance is in issue 2. So that's kind of spiking a little bit. I actually was able to find issue 2 today at a comic shop. So I will be a dirty flipper at some point and sell that. But Dean Cain went on to say that, in quotes, they said that it's a bold new direction. I say they're bandwagoning. I do not think it's a bold or brave or some crazy new direction. If this had been done 20 years ago, perhaps that would have been brave or bold. But brave would have been have him fighting for the rights of gay people in Iran, where they throw you off a building for the offense of being gay. I say they're jumping on the bandwagon. He writes in the piece during Thursday's interview, but they're fighting the wrong issues. This is a clear agenda here. It's globalist, it's anti-American, but it's not bold and it's not brave. And you know, I think this is an issue because we have established characters that have been around for quite a long time. And now, because I don't know what they're looking to do. I don't know if they're looking to just get more readers. Are they looking to stir the pot? Or why don't you just come up with new characters? You know, like they haven't done this mainstream, I guess, especially in the figure the Bat family since when Kate Kane was introduced. You know, it was immediately LGBTQ. Like she came out, that was the character, that's who she was. Tim Drake has been around since the late 80s, right?
Yeah.
Since, and he's changing. Jonathan Kent, the Superboy, or whichever version you want to look at, he's been around since like the 60s and maybe even the 50s, but obviously there's been different Superboys. But this John Kent, I think, was in the mid 2015s.
He's new. Yeah, he's like real new. Yeah.
But they've and I feel like they've aged him up, and I don't know the storyline of, because he was like,
he went to the future with Jor-El, and then he came back aged up. Yeah, because he used to have the remember Super Sons, where him and Damian were like the same age, and then he traveled and aged up. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're getting people like Dean Cain, who I feel like is someone who knows the Superman lore, and especially someone like that who most people are just going to shun away from it. We need to talk about this. It needs to be brought up. Like, so go ahead. I know I just kind of ranted for a while, but
no. Sometimes you got to just talk to know what your thoughts are too. It's like, so obviously DC did this, and they look, and I might offend you because you're a big DC fan. I like DC as well, quite a bit actually. And DC did this to great success with Alan Scott in the New 52. That was kind of their first modern, LGBTQ type character. And they came out with Alan Scott, and it got press media, and it brought attention to it. So it always is. You always want to look at it like, okay, why'd you do it? Did you do it to be woke? Did you do it to, actually be like, hey, I want to create characters that are inviting to the LGBTQ community, that they can feel like, hey, that person might represent me. I have something in common. Or, did you do it to just, spike the attention, feel like you check that box and everything? It's you never know what everyone's motives are, what their agenda is for DC. It's weird, in my opinion, because you just had Tim Drake, and it wasn't like there was a lead up to either one of these things. Like you said, Tim Drake, there's literally no lead up. It was just, hey, here's this character. I guess I'm bisexual. John Kent, okay, he's, like I said, more of a newer character. He's a younger character. He doesn't have an established backstory or any romantic associations prior to this, I guess. But I also just not really sure why it's necessary. I'm not against it by any means. Everyone who's, super left and woke, like, relax, not against it. I guess I just don't understand. I'm with you that it feels like to me it'd be better to make a new character and make that part of the character. I'm not sure why his sexuality is even like related to his character. Like, does this push the story? This is a story form here, right? So anything that a character does in a story form should push his story arc. What does this have to do with this story arc? Granted, I'm not reading Son of Kal-El, but I just don't really get it. As far as Dean Cain, says like, I'm not really sure what he means by anti-American. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that at all. But what Dean Cain says, like, it's not brave and it's bold. I don't think it's brave and bold at all either. Like, you want to be brave and you want to be bold. I dare you to say Clark Kent's gay, or I dare you to pick Batman is gay. Like, pick a big character. You're picking these minor characters to check a box. Like, go big. You picked Alan Scott, Earth 2, New 52, which wasn't even real continuity for Earth 2, or for New 52, because it was a safe bet. It was good to go. Granted, that is now his character moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, even now in like Infinite Frontier, it very much is established as that. I guess definitely. I see one of the downsides to this is it seems like these topics are so controversial, right? Which they shouldn't be. I mean, it's so obnoxious we even have to have this conversation. But here's my thing. Can you bring them back? I don't think you can. I think once you make Tim Drake bisexual or John Kent bisexual, and you have them, since they're both males. Oh, sorry. Do I need to call them cisgender males? I don't really know what the hell I'm supposed to call them.
Yeah, we're just since superheroes.
Since they're superhero males and they're fictional characters, I don't know what their fucking pronouns are. Can you ever have them hook up with a girl now? I don't think you can, because if you do, you will have the crazy people who are upset and be like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're taking away one of our representations and stuff." So now I don't think you can bring him back, and I feel like it's dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah, well, like how you just said that regarding the Robin thing, and it's funny because I'm gonna look this up real quick. I have it. Megan Fitzmartin, who was the one who did the issue for the Batman Urban Legends, she even said in an article, and I was reading this too, that, to be clear, this is regarding Tim Drake. To be clear, his feelings for Stephanie have been, are 100% real, as are his feelings for Bernard. And Bernard is the character who is in the Urban Legends. However, Tim is still figuring himself out. I don't think he has the language for it all yet. But like, again, it's a character that's been established for so long that I've read Detective Comics Batman in the 90s. I read the Robin run. Like, it's always been Stephanie. And if it wasn't Stephanie Brown, it was like Cassie Sidmark, Wonder Girl. Even in the New 52, not so much, because Stephanie really wasn't there until like Batman Eternal. But then like you had the Rebirth and the Detective Comics team, which was like that Tinian put together. It was always Tim and Stephanie, and then even post that, and now all of a sudden, like, this new writer comes in and does like this spin-off, and then all of a sudden it's and again, and like Zach said, we're not against it, we're not against gays in any way, we're just bringing this to the attention. And I just feel like, it for a character that's been established as long as he has, it's just not, I don't know the agenda. Like you said, we don't know the agenda, and it's just something that needs to be brought forward, and everybody has their opinions on it.
So I'm going to say probably the most controversial thing on this topic right now is it's 2021, man. No one gives a fuck what your sexuality is. Like Dean Cain said, if you did the shit in the 90s, yo, big deal. Wow. Okay. It's 2021. I'm sorry. We have LGBTQ and a million other letters. No one cares. It's not like surprising. Like when someone says, "Oh, this guy's gay," or "This person's a lesbian," or "This person's bisexual," I'm like, cool, whatever, don't care. That's real life. I'm not talking about fictional characters. It's not like, I don't know. It's almost like the media, of course, this day and age is looking for those hot topics. They want to get people riled up and they want to do these things. But honestly, I'm kind of like, dude, I don't give a shit. Like, I really don't care who you love. Be a good person. Don't be a piece of shit. And I don't care whether you're gay, bisexual, asexual, pansexual. I don't even know what all the words are, but it's so obnoxious that it's even part of a conversation.
And I know people are going to come back. People are going to come back to us and say, "Well, what about like Harley Quinn and like Poison Ivy. And
that's a very good example too. Honestly, we should talk about that too. Yeah, that's another. And now that's like ongoing as well, which I don't care, but
yeah,
it is weird for fans who have like invested in this character for so long. And now you have 100% changed this character's arc. You know, like let's say you're a massive, like, I'm not sure who the fuck's a massive Tim Drake fan. He's probably the least well-liked Robin out of all of them. But if you were just like, man, I love Tim Drake, you know, and then whatever, if you're kind of one of those people that this, like, you know, is an issue for, not to say there's anything wrong with you if you are that person, but if you have an issue with this, now your character's like ruined for you, I guess. That's why I'm kind of the mindset, like, make a new character. That way people can jump on board as like, hey, I like that guy as he is. Look, you know who's one of the best is North Star from the X-Men. You want to talk about like homosexuals in the comic book community or whatever. And North Star's pretty much always been like that. I mean, you never really had a love interest with him back when he was kind of a Alpha Flight character and whatnot. But then when he came out and they had the wedding with his husband and everything, and he's still been that way. He's still ongoing in Krakoa. He's human husband, lives there. You know, that's always been him. Now, reverse that. One of the weirdest ones was Iceman, where all of a sudden the same shit. He had all these girlfriends throughout history, and then boom, he's gay all of a sudden. Like, it's just, it's jarring. And his whole character changed. Like, he was never written the same again. I used to love Iceman. I still love Iceman, but he's not the same character anymore.
Oh, I used to use him a lot in Marvel vs. Capcom too, man. And then I don't know. Yeah, Bendis did that whole all new X-Men, the young team that came,
right?
Time displaced event X-Men team, and it was just I didn't know anymore. I didn't know how to treat the character, and I feel like that's what happens is the initial writer is always knows what they're doing, but then any writer after that doesn't know how to handle it.
And everyone wants to put their stamp on it, you know? Yeah.
So,
but you've changed the character. Like that big of a thing, like sexuality or I don't know. I mean, I guess you could even say religion for a character, like big topics, big real world topics. That changes a character. That's not just like, hey, yeah, I guess he's got a new blue costume instead of red this year. You know, like that's different, dude. That's like core changing for a character. So
I don't think I've ever done that. To think about like religion. I would love for someone when we post this to the Instagram, I would love someone who's listening to throw a character out who's actually changed their religion.
Yeah.
In comics.
Like, I mean, you've had like what Simon Boz was Muslim, Nightcrawler's Catholic, Daredevil Catholic.
But like actually change.
Yeah, like in story. Yeah, I don't know.
But like for them over time to be like, I feel like that's something that never really comes up. Like, you know, Kamala Khan, we know she's a Muslim. Like, would she change different? Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. Would she ever adopt Christianity all of a sudden?
You know, like I feel like that's something that, and I feel like that over your sexuality would be taken on a completely different level in 2021.
That's that's a touchy subject too. You're talking religion and like,
I know, I'm just, you know, something that people don't think about, but I guess that's why it's never done in comics, because the backlash to whether it's Marvel, DC, just come out with the character, come out with a brand new character, and this is how you establish them. So, all right, let's get off this topic. Let's get on to some other stuff.
Do you think we escaped, or do you think did we get canceled?
I think
did we get canceled here?
No, I don't think we're going to get canceled, but I think people may be happy that we brought this up, because I'm sure everybody has their own feelings, whether you agree with us, you don't agree with us, but those are our opinions. And
I'm sure if you're listening to the Comic-Con podcast, you know that we actually don't. This is one of our things: is we don't shy from these kind of topics. We will talk about these topics that other people will not talk about.
Yep. So whether it's the people in the community or stuff going around the world. But let's get on to some Marvel stuff. So real quick, before we're actually going to be talking about What If, but before we talk about that, just posted today on October the 14th, Samuel L. Jackson posted on his Instagram that he is currently starting to film for Secret Invasion. And that's something that both Zach and I are extremely excited for on the Disney Plus show, because some characters that we're specking on we've talked about in the past who Emilia Clarke is going to play. Are we going to see the Skrull Queen? Are we going to see Sword more in there? So just something real quick, but main focus, we're going to be talking about What If. So At this point, if you have not watched the full season of What If, please skip over this part. If not, you're sticking around. We've talked about the first episode when it aired quite a while back. We did our kind of mid-season review. Now we're going to kind of do the last couple episodes and our final scores for What If season 1. Do you want to go first there, Zach?
Sure. Yeah. So I liked it, man. I definitely liked it. I wouldn't say, I guess I'll come back on my score towards the end, but I liked how every episode was very episodic, right? Obviously, and like kind of were standalone stories. But I did like how at the end of season 1, they all kind of wrapped up. Like, so you got the story, you got the characters from different stories that we had seen show back up in the last 2 episodes, which were kind of like a part 1, part 2. And it was fun, man. I mean, we talked about this early on. I wish sometimes, they would maybe take some different, like, more wild takes, maybe. I don't know. We both talked about how one of the lamest episodes was the Black Panther as Star-Lord. Like, that was really weird.
Yeah. There was too much changing, and it was just way out there. I feel like it was just way out there on that episode.
I'd like to see certain events, like a one event that did changed, and then that did something. Like, to me, that's more interesting as the what if. Like, kind of even like the Peggy Carter. Like, what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum? Like, that shit's pretty cool to me. So I enjoyed it very much. It was very fun. It obviously allows a lot of options for Marvel to, break away from mainstream stories and kind of dabble and have fun with it without pissing off, the insane fandom that is out there. So it was cool. I guess we're going to rank the whole season, like, as a whole.
We could definitely talk about. So
I'm going to give
it our first half. Obviously we went up to episode 5, the zombies. So the episodes that we really didn't get to talk about were, I guess we could kind of break this down because it's the last 4 episodes. We could talk about if you want, the what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark, what if Thor was an only child, what if Ultron won, and then what if the Watcher broke his oath. So let's kind of real quick, we'll just kind of run these down. So you want to take the what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark?
Right. It was cool. I like the character of Killmonger a lot. I'd love to see more of him. I don't know if we will. Fingers crossed. I thought that was pretty cool. I liked how it wasn't just like, what if Killmonger, like, defeats Black Panther. I thought it was cool how they tied it into, like, Tony Stark, and they tied it into a story that you wouldn't even really consider necessarily. But it wasn't too much of a break from the character, to be honest. Like, it was the same character. So it was just really like, what if he got involved earlier? It was really what it should have been. Like, what if Killmonger got involved in the MCU earlier? But he was the same guy. He did the same shit. So that was kind of lame a little bit in my mind.
And speaking of lame, the what if Thor was an only child was definitely the lamest of all. That episode, so this episode was probably that would put as the 9 episodes, I would rank this the lowest of all of them. This was for me, it was just a terrible episode. I get how, like, we know this from the movies, like, Thor used to be a really cool character, and then he became like a comedian. And I feel like this is how this episode was, where he didn't grow up with Loki, so he has his own agenda. He's a different type of hero, so he throws like this crazy interstellar party in Vegas. And the only thing that I thoroughly enjoyed about the episode was Captain Marvel coming and, like, basically almost beating the crap out of him was, the only thing that I liked about the episode. So, but yeah, it was definitely just, to me, it was like a throwaway episode because neither of those characters showed up again, and there was no real ramifications.
Like, what was it called? What if Thor was an only child?
Was an only child,
which was weird too, because then even you would think that, like, I don't know, you think the idea of there being no Loki would have played like a more prominent role, but it didn't really seem to. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was almost like a shitty title also.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, what if Ultron won?
So I mean, I think we talk about these last 2 together, right? They're the same, part 1, part 2, pretty much. That one was cool, and I liked it because it also brought the Watcher as like a main character. Like, he really took front row center for these 2 episodes, and then we kind of, like we said, it brought everything full circle. We got all of our characters brought back in. We saw a lot of cool shit with the Infinity Stones. Yeah, I thought it was a great cap off to the series.
Yeah, I this one is definitely my favorite one. The action was great. The whole fight between, and this was definitely one of the best fights, I think, besides the Thor and Captain Marvel one. Just the whole displacement of time and space when they're fighting, and obviously there's throw-ins that you see them on Mustafar and you see Vader's castle if you pause it at the right time. So it's like breaking the fourth wall into like Star Wars realm for us Star Wars nerds. And they've kind of done this a little bit in the world of video games. If anybody's played Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, where Ultron meets Sigma from the Mega Man X series, and then he fuses and they combine and they get the stones, and then it's like this ultra Ultron basically. And that's how this is basically. Like Thanos comes, spoiler if you're still listening, Thanos comes to Earth and it's the greatest death ever. Like he just uses the Mind Stone and cuts him in half, and that's the end of Thanos. I'm like, wow, really? They couldn't do that, a long time ago. But this was definitely my favorite episode from the season 1. The Watcher is great, and we got to see him like armored up, which was pretty badass too. So
his interaction with the Doctor Strange was cool. Like seeing the evil Doctor Strange. I also really enjoyed the relationships in this one. That I really liked was I loved the Hawkeye Black Widow relationship, which was just like classic from the MCU. And then I loved her interaction in relationship with Peggy Carter. I thought that was really cool too. How it was like she had her own version. You saw Peggy flashback where it was basically Winter Soldier.
So that gets into Batroc. That gets into the what if the Watcher broke his oath, where it starts off where he's going into different parts in time and getting him. So it's exactly like on the ship, the Lumarian star.
So it was cool. That was I liked all that, and it was really cool. And the little post-credit scene was fun. It was really good for like MCU. Didn't expect actually a post-credit scene for What If. So
what was it?
So they found the little Iron Man bot or whatever suit of armor that that Steve Rogers was using, like frozen or stored somewhere, and then there was a body inside.
The one thing to get into this episode 9, what if the Watcher broke his oath? The one character I didn't like and couldn't understand was Gamora.
Yeah, she didn't have a place, really, right?
Like they were at where the dwarf guy where they make the weapons. And it was like Gamora in the Thanos armor, and you have Tony Stark in like this jacked up Iron Man suit, and the Watcher just goes to him and says to her like, "Come, we need your help." And you're just like,
right.
But where was she in any of these episodes? Like every other character had their place.
It would have made more sense for it to be
Thor, but like you couldn't get another character. Like
it made sense to be Nebula more than her on multiple levels. We had a lot of Nebula in the Star-Lord stuff, and in Endgame we had the interaction between Stark and Nebula. That would have made more sense to me.
There's obviously the people that kind of made it out of the zombies episode. I would have taken like Spider-Man over Gamora.
Or the headless Ant-Man, just the Ant-Man head.
Yeah,
that would have been fun.
Yeah, it was just really odd that the character placement of like everybody had their episode except for her.
Right.
And then she was the one who's chosen. Like she was kind of like the third wheel, even though she was like realistically the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
So, overall, 9 episodes. I would probably say it was a solid. I would say it was a solid 8 out of 10. I'd give this season. The two downfalls, unfortunately for me, are the what if Thor was his only child, and then the Star-Lord, T'Challa episode. Just really, those ones just didn't do it for me. Other than that, every episode was awesome. Fight scenes were great. Like you said, the darkness of the Doctor Strange episode and the Marvel Zombies were great.
Yeah. I think out of 10, I'm going to go 6.57. Mainly because honestly, I wasn't anticipating every episode, like with the live action shows. I was like, oh man, can't wait to watch this episode. Like I knew for me, it's very much a difference if I know there's no stake in it, like moving forward as like a long-term storyline. I'm kind of like, okay, it's just kind of for fun. It's shits and giggles, so it definitely takes away from the enjoyment a little bit for me, that's on me, not on the show. So for me, it was probably like a 6.5. probably fair to say a 7. I did enjoy it. It was fun, but I could live without it, I guess is kind of what I'm saying.
Really?
Like I wouldn't be upset if they canceled. Not to saying I want them to cancel. I wouldn't be like, oh no,
But I feel like the difference between like you said, you're always waiting, like WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, you're always waiting for the next episode to see what's going to happen. But I feel like with this show, the anticipation isn't what's going to happen. It's really what is the episode like. So, because typically we never knew what the episode was called or a tease until like the Monday or Tuesday before when it dropped on a Wednesday. So you really didn't know anything about it. And then, what is the switch? Like, what's that one thing that changes? Obviously, we said what if. So what's the one thing that changes that makes this complete story?
What a great title.
Yeah.
They nearly nailed it with that title.
Oh man, I should make up my own stories. Like remember that comic book in the 90s? The What the comic?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, the two things are I could live without it. Doesn't mean I want to live without it. I wouldn't be upset. And maybe it also comes back to the fact that I was never big into What If and the 90s and stuff. I didn't really read those. I never was really into that at all.
Yeah, I think same thing. I didn't read the volume 1s. I would read like those newer ones that are kind of the expensive ones. Like What If the Carnage one, like Deadpool Carnage is an expensive book. And even more of the newer stuff that came out, like the Secret Invasion, What If Loki won. There's that one what's the one issue that I've read that was actually decent? Like What If the Avengers were in the 1950s, but that's like a volume 1. But yeah, the What If I never really enjoyed the What If.
Yeah, it never appealed to me really. So cool. So I don't know if we got any other articles. I do have something that maybe everyone's like sick of me talking about, but I'm just so excited and I'm counting down the time for the Wheel of Time show. Every time I see an article, I'm just like immediately fixated on it. They already like started filming season 2, and they also just, announced another cast member for season 2 who is a very big and prominent character in the novels. It's the character of Elaine Cherkand, got cast for season 2, which is very exciting because I was kind of really, when I saw the cast list for season 1, I was like, yo, where the fuck is Elaine Cherkand? So obviously pacing is definitely different from novels and TV shows and whatnot. So super excited for that. November 19th. I know Justin's probably like, yeah, I'm kind of getting sick of hearing about this.
No, it's fine.
When you watch it, bro, you're going to love it.
I went to 4. What did I go to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shops in 2 or 3 days, and that comic show, and I was digging, looking for Wheel of Time, and nobody.
It's impossible.
One place had the Wheel of Time books, or the other Robert Jordan, right? Who does
Robert Jordan. Yeah.
What is it? Spring.
New Spring. It's like a prequel. Yeah.
Nothing. Not one issue. Not even like issue 5 of like.
I know.
Like nothing.
And Eye of the World went for like 25 issues. So there was like the 0 issue, a number 1 issue, and then there was the 1 through 25 of Eye of the World, so the first book, and then there was like 6 issues of New Spring. I was able to snag like 3 copies of it, like off eBay, but dude, I mean, priced pretty high. They are impossible. I looked everywhere too, like all the shops I went to. Almost the first thing I did, and then at the end, I'd always ask the guy, hey dude, random question. Random question, man. Do you by chance have any Wheel of Time? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. I'm sure that stuff would be, and you know what it is? Like those are the type of books that wouldn't have a section in like an A to Z, long boxes. Those would be the books that are in like the dollar bins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They were nothing, up until now. And even then, like people just put them in the dollar bins, and if someone took them, they got a great deal because for what they're going for now. So
November 19th, man. Wheel of Time. Can't wait. Hear me. I'll probably be talking about it every week. Like, oh my God.
We'll start the podcast and we'll definitely discuss it.
Hell yeah. Oh, it's going down, dog.
Oh, we'll talk about it. It'll be something to discuss.
Yeah.
But before we, of course, end the evening with what are we currently reading, we are on the eve of DC Fandom 2021.
Yes.
We are going to try to do possibly a special episode with all the DC stuff, because I feel like if we wait till next Thursday, everybody's not going to care anymore, even though I'm going to care because there's so much stuff that's dropping. So you may be getting a special episode midweek. And if not, then we'll be talking about it next week on the podcast.
So actually, give the listeners, maybe some of them who aren't super familiar with DC fandom, how it works, when it's going on, how you can watch it, and everything.
So right on dcfandom.com, you can actually register and sign up. It's completely free. It's this Saturday from, it would be 1 o'clock Eastern time until I think about 7 o'clock. Yeah, like 6 or 7 o'clock Eastern time. Basically, it's just interviews, trailers, panels, stuff that they're going to be talking about, all the stuff that's going to be coming out over the next, I would say, 2 years. You're going to have the new Batman trailer. I'm hoping for the Black Adam trailer, Flash trailer.
A Flash surprise also. The director's teasing a big surprise on Saturday.
You got Shazam, Fury of the Gods. You have the Peacemaker show. You have Aquaman 2, season 2 of the Lois, Superman and Lois show, Stargirl stuff, Teen Titans Go, Titans on the HBO Max, all that great stuff. Video games. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun. I wish we could do kind of like a live post show, but unfortunately with me going away on Saturday, we'll have to do it maybe Sunday or Monday. And maybe we'll get ourselves a residential DC comic lover to help us out with that too. So tease that out.
Yeah, should be good, man. I mean, but this is the second year, I think, for DC fandom, right?
Yeah, this is the second time they've done this.
And this might be, honestly, I mean, NYCC, you see a lot of Marvel DC pull out of these things. We might be seeing the end of Comic Cons as we used to know them. With these big publishers realizing, like, look, man, like, it costs us a lot of money to go to that, and yeah, it's a lot of hype and we get some good stuff out of it, but we can just do our own thing. And shit, if you do it on the internet, what does that really cost?
Yeah,
so
you're just recording it.
Right.
Actors and actresses can stay at home, or while they're organizing like the filming, they can just do it on
right
set.
And work it into, I mean, I'm sure it's already worked in publicity it's already worked into their contracts as well. So it's not like you have to probably pay the actors and actresses or whatever. So this is kind of the future, man. This might be the future of entertainment news in terms of, cons. So cool. Should be fun. So as always, right, we're finishing up here. We're going to finish with what we are currently reading, but we are going to keep it Halloween-y themed. So Justin kind of kicked it off last week with him and Juan kind of picking horror topics, right? Like horror books. That's kind of what you chose, right?
Yeah. Yep,
so
horror style.
We're going to keep that as the theme for the month of October. So Justin, you want to lead us off here?
Yeah, so this week I got a really cool mini series. So this is the third and final installment of Vader's Castle on the IDW Star Wars Adventures. So they started off with Tales from Vader's Castle, then it was Return to Vader's Castle, and then the latest one that's just started, and it's kind of like a weekly or bi-weekly coming out, is Ghosts of Vader's Castle. So it's a 5-issue miniseries typically. They are up to issue number 4. So what happens is they're kind of like there's a main overall arcing main. God, I can't even talk anymore. Main overall arcing story. You have 2 characters named Lena and Milo Graf with their droid Crafter, and then in between things are happening, and they tell like these horror stories. So with the 4 issues, don't want to give too much away. I actually kind of want everybody to check this out, but the first issue is called Dawn of the Droids. Did you ever see that movie? And this is going to bring it back, people listening. Did you ever see that movie Virus, where like there was a ship and it went through like this storm, and then the storm kind of created like these this technological being, and the ship actually created like droids from human body parts and stuff?
With Jamie Lee Curtis?
Maybe.
I think so. I'm looking it up. I've never seen this, but yes, this is what you're talking about. It's a ship beset by malevolent extraterrestrial entity that seeks to turn humanity into cyborg slaves.
Yes, there it is. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Donald Sutherland's in it as well. So yes, no. So you've
never seen it? No, never even heard of it.
Oh, dude, definitely check it out. It's like it's a cool sci-fi horror, like 90s.
Okay.
It's like a B-rated type of thing, but you get big actors. But so like the first issue, kind of you figure it's very similar to that, but then you have like the droids of the Star Wars universe. So really interesting. And then the latest issue that just dropped this week, which is called the Spectre of the Sith, kind of deals with like this creepy young ghost version of Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like a la oh my god, I can't. There's like so many movies. It's kind of like a little bit of the Chucky movies and a little bit of The Shining with like the twins.
Okay.
Like it's following around this one character, and in between you have characters of the past that show up in the different issues, and of course you get the first expanded universe character, Jackson the Rabbit. He's in there, but there's still like this long story that's happening in and out of each issue. And what's really cool is when they do the horror stories, it's done by the art from Francis Francavilla, and he has some crazy looking art compared to that more childish, cartoony of like what is going on in some of it. So it's like typically like half the issue is one artist and the other half is a different artist. So you get cool like grainy and gritty with the horror stuff. So again, 4 issues down, 1 issue left. And the writer, of course, Kevin Scott. If you don't know Kevin Scott, he's been doing a lot of the Star Wars High Republic stuff right now. He's writing the main story as well as the Temple of the Monsters from IDW, which is that little mini series with Ty Yorick. And he's done a ton of other stuff for the comic books. So check it out. He did the other stories as well. So this is his conclusion to Vader's Castle. So check it out. It's on IDW. And that's my pick of the week for horror.
Cool. So I got 2. One is kind of like everyone's pretty much familiar with right now. You should be. If you aren't, you definitely need to pick it up. It's a Nice House on the Lake. Definitely has like a horror theme to it, but James Tynion, the DC Black Label. Book 5 just recently came out. I think it was like last week or something like that. And it's awesome. It's really great. I could see, like a limited series, like one shot, like 12 episodes, 8 episodes, whatever you wanted to do on this, and it would be amazing. So if you aren't reading Nice House on the Lake, you are doing yourself a disservice for sure. So definitely check that one out. But the one I actually really have been enjoying quite a bit as well is The Last Book You'll Ever Read by Cullen Bunn from Vault Comics. So I believe it's just going to be like a little mini series. And it definitely is like a horror theme. I'm going to read you the synopsis here from Vault Comics. So civilization is a lie. Hidden deep in our genes is the truth, and is slowly clawing its way to the surface. Olivia Cade knows the truth, and she has become the prophet of the coming collapse. Her book, Satire, is an international bestseller, and it's being blamed for acts of senseless violence and bloodshed all over the world. Olivia's own life is in danger from those who have read her work. Determined to conduct a book tour, she hires security professional Connor Wilsing to act as her bodyguard. She only has one requirement: he cannot read her work. So the writer is going around. She's doing like, showings at local bookstores about her book, talking about it. And it's a very polarizing book. People who are reading are like protesting. She's talking about like the depravities of human nature. And she has like these kind of almost like, I don't want to call them zombies, but like monster people, zombie kind of real life people like chasing after her. They're like foaming at the mouth, trying to kill her. And yeah, so she has her bodyguard, but he's not able to read it. So it's very much like if you read this book, you kind of lose your mind, so to speak, or get kind of taken up in it. And it's cool. It's very interesting. Like I said, I'm a big Cullen Bunn fan as well. Vault Comics, Last Book You'll Ever Read. I think there's 3 issues out right now, and I believe it's a miniseries, but don't quote me on that. So cool. Check it out.
Awesome. Good book. Good picks for the horror stuff.
Yeah. So like we said, we're going to try to focus on horror books this month for the Halloween theme. And it's going to get kind of hard because, to be honest, I don't read a lot of like, I mean, I do. I guess now I definitely read more horror now than I ever have because horror's awesome right now.
Hey, well, it could be something old.
Right. Yeah. I'll have to pick up some
old stuff. It doesn't have to be something new. Right? I just, I was reading this. I've read the other Tales from Vader's Castle and Return. My favorite was Return to Vader's Castle because it kind of every issue involves like a villain. It's like Darth Maul, Saj Ventress, Count Dooku. And I don't want to give everything away, but check that out. It's that's what was my favorite of this series. But this one could end. This series could end well too. I really liked issue 1 and I really liked issue 4. 2 was pretty funny. Kind of, it was like a throwback to like the 50s and 60s, like monster movies. It's called like Attack of the 50-Foot Wookiee. So
Yeah.
but yeah, you'd have to read it. It's interesting. It's like that fun horror stuff. So yeah, we'll even
Cool.
see what I'm going to be reading the next 2 weeks for horror.
Right. There we go. Got to try to find something. So, well, that's all we've got this week, folks. So, episode 40, officially, like Justin says, in the books. And yeah, we will see you shortly. Like I said, Justin mentioned we might try to do a special episode of DC Fandom. We'll see, time permitting. Maybe we'll do a Monday live show recap or something like that. But yeah, that's all we got this week. New listeners, please check us out. If you did, thank you for coming. Hopefully you like what we said. Hopefully we didn't offend you with our controversial topics. And if we did, well, stick around because we'll probably offend you some more. So
Yeah,
look for us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes. You can find us on Instagram, Nemesis_Prime, Milton the Manimal, our Comic-Con podcast on Instagram, as well as please send any questions, topics, conversations, voice memos, anything you want us to talk about, stories, whatever. We'll put you on blast to the Comic-Con podcast at gmail.com. We're always looking for new stuff and always looking for new things to direct the podcast at. So if you got ideas, you think you can do it better than us, you probably can, and let us know. So
yeah.
That's all I got. What about you, Justin?
Not too much. Just real quick, I really want to give a shout out to Comic Enterprises. Follow my man Curtis on Comic Enterprises on Instagram, and also follow him on Whatnot. He is a great supporter of the podcast. Anytime I jump into his Whatnot sales, he's always shouting me out. He's always shouting out the podcast. So shout out to you, Comic Enterprises. Again, Comic Enterprises, not that hard to figure out how to spell it, but they are on Instagram. He's the king of the CBCS 9.8s. I had the pleasure of meeting him as well at Terrificon back in August. Great guy. A lot of great books as well. So please follow him on Whatnot. Please follow him as well on Instagram. That's all I got.
Yeah, and, another Whatnot shout out to JRK Comics, who I was in his one of his Whatnot auctions just the other day. Also gave us a massive shout out for the podcast, and honestly, just a great seller with great deals. So if you're looking for good books, JRK Comics on Whatnot. Great dude. So that's all we got. We will check you guys out next week. Peace.